Yeah, I moved us to the weekends because it's crazy around here, and it has to be crazy around there too. So I just kind of figured the weekends are better than any time during any week ever. Also, if I may, my wife had it in the closet and she gave it to me to wear for this purpose right now, so I'm doing it. So okay, welcome. Welcome to the first weekend edition of Generation Jump, my friend. And let's see, a couple of things right off the bat. This also came from the wife. Here, alright, this is emergency, which you're supposed to use when you get sick. I've never used it ever. I don't actually think it works, but my wife swears that it works. So I'm telling you, so that you can maybe go and enjoy the placebo effect just like she does, I suppose. Note for Nick, Bob Marley, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Big Sean, I was not aware that he existed until last week, and I actually listened to him, he's pretty good. He actually sounds pretty decent, so I give you props, I guess, for that. But still, I probably wouldn't put him out there with Bob Marley, but that's just my own taste, right? And we all have our own taste. Anyway, boo to Jerry C. for axing Monin. I mean, that's just a sad day for all combined, right? And don't eat anything expired ever. I guess the other thing is I'm glad that you're making friends, and I'm glad that your classes seem like they're going pretty well. So that's all good. Let's move on to my review. So I really like the Mogwais, very up-tempo. I had not listened to them until you recommended them. They're very, very listenable. They've got a good sound going to them, and I enjoy them very much. Blog visitor who visits every once in a while, when I posted it to the blog, he suggested that I listen to San Francisco, and yeah, it's a poppy little tune. It's probably why it's the first most listened to tune on Spotify when I go in and I type in the Mogwais. But it's all really good. It's all really poppy, and I like it. I like it a lot. It's kind of like the Arctic Monkeys, sort of, but the Arctic Monkeys have a little bit more of a sharp edge to them, I suppose. But yeah, I enjoyed them very much. So I'm going to go with a similar name because it just, the Mogwais, and I was like, oh, that reminds me of this great band. But here's the thing, they don't sound anything like the Mogwais. The only similarity that you will see between this band and the Mogwais is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the letters in their names. So it's pretty close, but the band that I'm going to recommend is Mogwai. You mentioned a couple of videos back that you have like studying music, and actually Mogwai is really good kind of like working music for me, so I figured I'd pass them off to you. Some people who do these kinds of things classify them as what's called post-punk, but I don't know what that means. In any event, it's very cool, totally instrumental stuff with maybe vocals in the spirit of Frank Zappa, who once described vocals as pitched mouth noise. It's very sort of, repetitive is probably a bad word, but it builds, right? So it's building on patterns and building on patterns. But there's really good stuff, and some of the stuff is just breathtakingly beautiful. So I would recommend a couple of different albums. I would check out Mr. Beast, which is a pretty good album. The album Happy Songs for Happy People is one of my all-time favorites, and their recent-ish live album called Special Moves is totally worth checking out. There's a bunch of other albums too. If you go and you check them out, you'll see that there's a ton of Mogwai stuff. And I'd love to know what you think, being a musician. You know, do you get where that's coming from? And if you do, then there's a bunch of other bands you can listen to also, but we don't need to talk about that right now. So that's it. That's all I got for you. I hope everything is swimming along fine. I guess you're starting to get close to the middle of the first semester, which is always insane, but that's how college works. And hopefully you've adjusted to the workload pretty well, but I'd imagine you have. Everything here is pretty good. We just had a hot water system put in, a new hot water system, and we have a giant hole. And the hole is collecting stuff, which is getting pumped out. It's as awesome as it sounds, but homeownership does have its joys. All right, my friend, take it easy, and I will talk to you next week.